prison is in here, not out there.
Hark at you with your art of war. James Moriarty.
Sherlock Holmes.
I never knew. I was completely unaware of how important it is to see them friends, and I now. And not only do I think it serves our show really well, but I think it actually even serves Conan Doyle's work really well, because once you understand that they were previously friends, it enriches the rivalry so much, because it just feels so much more loaded. And when Sherlock's talking to Watson about Moriarty, the fact that he's keeping from him that they were previously friends, you feel the pain in Sherlock, and probably Moriarty too. But then also, Sherlock always has a counterpart in John Watson, so if he needs a counterpart in this, and for it to be Moriarty, it's just so insightful and entertaining to watch them. And as you've identified, they are misfits and outcasts, and they're both just so exceptionally intellectual, even in an environment like Oxford. It's very believable that they would be friends, and yeah, just so fun to watch them. They're such a great team. They're so exceptional, and they even make up for where each other lacks.
Yeah, and I think to speak on that as well, if you're a fan of Sherlock Holmes, Hero spoken before about like how you can initially have this kind of knee-jerk reaction to being like, why would these people be friends? But you only think that because of the context that you have from the Arthur Conan Doyle's. But what's like it deepens that kind of connection is the idea that I think both of them find it hard to make connection given their level of brilliance. And I think, you want to meet someone who's going to challenge you kind of on that kind of intellectual level. And they have an appreciation for that. And I think the show does a great job of showing you how they have influenced each other to become the character in literature that we learn to know. And like, there's great nods to those kind of impressions that they've made, and that the fact, like, at one point Moriarty says to Sherlock, "When you have eliminated the impossible, however improbable, whatever that is, must be the truth," and that is something that Sherlock says to Watson in the books, and it's like saying something that like an ex-girlfriend or something said to you. It's like it can't. It's brought with this level of like heartache because it has this context of that's coming from someone that you really cared about, it sharpens that sense of betrayal whenever it comes.
I feel like when there is like film expectation, it is a good thing that for myself, because it gives me inspirations about different aspects. It preps my structure, my character building faster than I am just building it and tasting it and trying things out than how it was like newly invited. However, I think like even though there's this story and characters that they have been shipped from before, from the history over and over again, there is a sense of a good thing that there's this vocabulary. I'm blanking, but this thing is worth creating over and over again. And by saying that, I mean to let go of that part of the stress to take on a character is equally hard work as the newly created character and also the established character. They're all very juicy because I did both too. So that was my insights. Thank you.
For me, it's funny, I always have a temptation, you might not know it, and might not sense it, but to sort of over-prepare and to research and to read and to watch other performances and try to be disciplined about stealing inspiration and whatnot. But I think that's overthinking it. You know, you bring in your DNA. Guy Ritchie, brings in his reimagining of this world, and we're also telling a part of the Sherlock story that has been undertold. You know, there's hundreds of millions, if not billions, of fans of Sherlock, but for people to see the genesis, the formation of these personalities and these intellects, is exciting and freeing for us. I think we have license, both being with Guy and also the genesis of these characters, to get a little creative and think a little out of the box.
Look, I think the expectations of only help us, because I think, now I know the show and I've seen it now with multiple audiences. It has that sort of wonderful energy that the Sherlock movies had. It's not those movies and it's not a prequel to those movies, but that sort of swagger, that sense of fun, that sense of sort of irreverence, it has that. So I think if people come to this from that movie or from those movies, I think they're going to enjoy this. So I think it only helps us, that sense of expectation. Having said that, I'm terrified. I think for me, it was, I made a decision very early on, because you take on a Sherlock Holmes project and it's quite nerve-wracking because there's so many great writers have done it and great actors. And so for me, I needed to give myself some sort of space, some sort of creative freedom, right? So I sort of said to myself, I'm not going to touch anything from The Study in Scarlet on, which is the first Sherlock Holmes book, which meant I couldn't touch Watson, right? So I, now I do touch Moriarty, obviously, but I was fascinated in why these two become such great enemies, why they become such great rivals. And then from there, one of the answers in my head was, well, sometimes you have these great friendships, and when you fall out with those great friendships, they become great enemies or great rivals. So it was a what if question. It was what if two of the greatest rivals in sort of fictional history were once friends? And I just thought that was, for me, I got excited about exploring that idea.